Yeah, I'm back, baby, with another review for the month of gore, and this time I'm taking a look at the brand new Ouija movie, Ouija, Origin of Evil. And of course, this is a sequel to the wildly popular and just straight up like universally hated movie, Ouija. That movie was a pile, and let me tell you, it was a big, steamy, rancid, bad pile of shit. I hated that movie. It was so bad. Terrible acting, terrible characters, awful writing, poor direction, not scary at all. Such a generic movie using what could actually possibly be a decent premise for a horror movie, actually focusing on the Ouija board. So when I heard there was a sequel coming out, directed by Mike Flanagan, the guy that did Hush and Oculus, and even that movie Before I Wake, which has still not come out, I was excited because at least Hush and Oculus were two great horror movies. So I was a little excited. And then I saw the trailers, I was like, I mean, it didn't look awful, but it looked pretty generic, I would say. But the reviews have been extremely positive for this movie. So I went in with a very positive outlook. I was like, you know what? Director, love that guy, Mike Flanagan. He's gonna be a big asshole. No, he's gonna be a big guy in the future. Look out for him. I don't know. The reviews have been good so far. Usually I don't listen to reviews, but I was a little excited. I was still like, yeah. If I like it, I'm not gonna be the dumbass like, yeah, I like the bad movie. Other people liked it, so I went in with a positive outlook. Let's talk about Ouija, Origin of Evil. It's so weird to call this the sequel, considering how much better this movie is. I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, this movie, not only is it leaps and bounds better, it's actually kind of embarrassing to say this belongs to the same series as that original movie, because that original movie is dog shit. It really is. What the original movie feels like, it feels like a really terrible sequel to this film, except it's reversed. This is the sequel to that one somehow. You know how we get really bad sequels to really good horror movies that come out recently, like Sinister 2, or even stuff like The Ring and The Ring 2, which I know wasn't recent, but, you know, even The Grudge, which was a fine low horror film, sequel was awful. That's what the original felt like. The original felt like it really should have been a sequel to this one. And hell, this one actually takes place before the original Ouija. So it actually makes more sense that the original Ouija would be a sequel to this one. And quality-wise, this one is so much better. I'm going to tell you right here, Mike Flanagan, great director. He does such a good job with horror, with ghosts, and with just... he does a great job with creating an atmosphere inside a house. That's what I've noticed about this guy. This guy is kind of like James Wan, where he can make any ordinary house really creepy. Oculus, he did that. He did it in Hush. And he does the same thing in Origin of Evil, except maybe to a lesser extent, and there's still a lot of jump scares. But when it gets to the jump scares are actually really well done. It's actually very, very tense. It builds up to the jump scare, and sometimes it's like, oh, there was no jump scare. It was just kind of like building up to something, and then there's no jump scare. Or there is a jump scare, maybe that's not scary, but then something happens immediately after the jump scare that is actually very creepy. There's actually one really good key moment in here that I thought was really creepy, and nobody else in the audience thought it was really scary, which was surprising. If you were in that theater and oh my god, you would have lost your mind in my theater. My theater had the dumbest fucking audience ever in the world. They would scream at everything. Someone opened a door kind of loudly, and there was someone in the back that had just a deafening scream. I swear, I was like, oh my god, I hate this audience. I hate it so much. They were talking all the time and making stupid jokes that weren't funny. I could hear every single joke. I was like, oh my god, I hate this audience. But even this moment, someone gets there, someone's trying to sleep, and the ghost pulls the sheet off the bed really quick, and everybody's like, oh, it was scary because it was like, oh, it was so quick. And then immediately she picks the sheet up, there's nothing there, she pulls it back over her, and there's something in the background. And it's so well done because there's no music cue to make you realize it's there. There's no like tight zoom up. The thing in the background doesn't do a jump scare and goes blah. It's just there. And I thought that was really creepy. It actually reminded me a lot of like something like The Exorcist, where The Exorcist, just randomly there'll be things in the background or on the wall or just even like audio cues that the movie wouldn't focus too much on and you have to pick up yourself as an audience member. I thought that was really well done. The story and characters are also very well done because in the original Ouija, I'm sorry, I have to keep harping on the original Ouija because this is a sequel, so of course. The original Ouija, you got to know none of the characters really, and if you do, they're just teenage kids. They're kind of annoying, pretty bad actors for the most part. You didn't really give a shit about the ghost, the origin story for the ghost in that movie. Here you actually are really interested in the characters because it's about a mother and her two daughters. And you have also the priest character that shows up. And all of them are actually really, really likable. Well acted. Especially the little girl, the littlest girl, who's actually the one that, of course, gets possessed. You see it in the trailer. There's no big surprise. If you see any of these horror movies, it's always going to be the littlest girl that gets possessed. Poltergeist, hey, any horror movie from the last 10 years that has a ghost and a little girl in it, that ghost is going to possess that little girl at some way. Hell, even The Conjuring 2 had that. So, if you have a little girl in a movie and there's a ghost involved, it's going to get possessed. Unless it's Casper, then I guess Casper's not going to do that. But, if it's a horror movie, if it's scary. Or if it's trying to be scary. But yeah, the characters here are really likable. The writing is much better. You actually feel like this is a family. There is actually some dramatic moments to this film that actually work. You actually feel for these characters. And even at first, if you're not liking certain characters, especially like the big sister, the two daughters, one's small, one's the big sister. The big sister is a little annoying at first. You will come to enjoy and like these characters towards the end. So even if the scares don't work for you, if you like a good story with some likable characters, you'll like this. The origin story of the ghost is actually really cool. It's really, really, really well done. When they get to that, it's really creepy and kind of like, oh my god, that sucks when they're explaining it. And it's really, really well done when it just comes to mixing the horror with the family elements. I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy Ouija Origin of Evil, which I am completely surprised. The acting is great, especially from Henry Thomas, who shows up out of nowhere. I was just like, what the... Even in the trailer, I didn't recognize that was Elliot from freaking E.T. I was like, what? Of course I wouldn't. He's grown up now. I don't think I've seen him in many other movies. So I was just like, whoa, that's Henry Thomas. I didn't know that. And he was really good. He was the priest character, and he's a really, really likable character. Everybody in this film does a damn good job. Hell, even the boyfriend character that shows up, who's the boyfriend to the big sis, even he's good. And a character like that in the original Ouija, like there's like 3 characters like that in the original Ouija, would have been terrible. But here, Mike Flanagan, the writers, I think he actually also co-wrote it. I'm not completely sure. They know what to do when it comes to horror. They make this house creepy, they make the Ouija board creepy, and they do a damn good job of not just making it all jump scares. There are quite a few telegraphed jump scares, but when it's trying to really be scary, it's pretty creepy. There's maybe a little bit too much CG in here. There's a couple times where the girl's mouth like stretches out long, you see it in the trailer, and it's such a poor CG effect. And there's a couple of moments where it's really silly. There's one part where the sister's looking down the mouth of the little girl as her mouth is really long, and like this eye pops out or something like that, like this yellow eye just pops up. It's really silly at times. But it is creepy, and it's very effective at times, and you like the characters. It's not the best horror film this year. It's not the best horror film ever, but it's definitely the best horror film that has Ouija in the title. So it's got that. It's going to probably make a lot of money, and hopefully if they do a sequel, they get Mike Flanagan once again, because I think that guy, he's got moxie. He's a good boy, all right? He's a good old boy, all right? I know, I raised him right. So anyway, no, he's probably older than me, but, whatever. He's a good boy. I like Hush. I really liked Hush. That's still in my top 10 this year. But this is still damn good. And I'm glad he was able to reverse the negative aftertaste of Ouija and make it nice. A sweet aftertaste. Even the ending is pretty decent in this film. Yeah. It's pretty creepy. I like this movie. You did a good job, Mike Flanagan. You a good boy. You a good old boy. I liked it. So anyway, Ouija Origin of Evil gets a 33 out of 40 from me. That's pretty high. That's way higher than the original movie. I never reviewed it, sadly, but I guess you can kind of count this as a review for the original too, because that movie sucked. So anyway, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.